Manchester man fatally shot during police operation. A man was fatally shot by the police during an alleged confrontation in Mollison District, Christiana, Manchester on Wednesday. Police named the man as 55-year-old Ronald Evans, otherwise called Richard. Preliminary reports are that sometime after 5 a.m., there was a targeted operation at a house where Evans resides in the area. Police say during the operation, they were confronted by Evans and that a firearm was seized. This individual chose to confront law enforcement and all officers responded as they were trained to do. A Glock 40 pistol was recovered during this fatal confrontation, Commanding Officer for Area 3 Acting Commissioner of Police Calvin Allen stated. However, residents describe Evans as a hardworking member of the community since he moved from Spanish Town to the area. This morning, I heard that the police gunned down Richard. I don't know him to be a bad man. He came into the community after 13 years with one baby and he got two more, trying to be a good gentleman. We don't know what happened in the past, a resident told reporters. Meanwhile, ACP Allen said other operations carried out in the St. Elizabeth and Clarendon area. In St. Elizabeth, Allen said a successful targeted operation led to the seizure of 3 firearms. 6 people, including a female, were taken into custody from that operation. Finally, in Clarendon, lawmen conducted a targeted raid, which led to the seizure of 3 motor vehicles. Allen said one of those vehicles has already been identified as stolen. Man killed, brother injured in Olympic Gardens drive-by. The Hunts Bay Criminal Investigation Branch is probing a gun attack in Olympics Gardens, St. Andrew on Tuesday that left a man dead and his brother injured. Dead is 26-year-old Warren Grant, alias Diggs, of Hill Avenue, Kingston 11. His 35-year-old brother is hospitalized with gunshot wounds. Reports were that about 3 p.m., the brothers were along Cinnamon Crescent in Olympic Gardens when they were shot in a drive-by. They were assisted to the Kingston Public Hospital, where one was pronounced dead and the other admitted. No motive has been established for the shooting. DPP expresses concern that public discourse about fraud hit SSL may jeopardize the court case. Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewellyn has expressed concern that public discourse about fraud hit Stocks and Securities Limited (SSL) may jeopardize the court case involving accused former employee Jeanon Panton. The concern is reportedly shared by defense lawyers representing Panton. Persons are being urged to be judicious in our utterances, failing which the lawyers or the court may have to take steps to safeguard the fairness of the process. In a statement, DPP Llewellyn outlined that Panton is before the Home Circuit Court on an indictment with 22 counts pertaining to allegations of falsification of accounts, forgery, authoring forged documents, larceny by a servant, offences under the Cybercrimes Act and Proceeds of Crimes Act. The prosecution has so far disclosed to the defense indictment on all the documentary material and statements of witnesses it intends to rely on in the prosecution of the matter. The matter is to return to the Home Circuit Court on March 20 to facilitate the settling of issues including the mode of trial, whether by jury or judge alone, and the date of trial. Regarding concerns about pretrial publicity, DPP Llewellyn noted that in recent weeks, there has been a lot of public discourse about the matter, which involve complainants, media practitioners, members of the public on social media platforms, and other interested parties. DPP Llewellyn pointed out that knowing case law of pretrial publicity, abuse of process, and overriding objection of fairness to the accused being at the heart of due process, she and her team discussed the concerns about the possible deleterious impact on the fairness of the impending trial. She noted that it is a critical principle within Jamaica's jurisprudence that justice must not only be done, but manifestly appear to be done. She said the concern of possible negative impacts on the fairness of the trial proceedings of the accused has been shared with her in a recent time, without prejudice, conversation with defense lawyer John Clark. She said her office acknowledges and respects the constitutional rights of every citizen to freely express themselves on any subject of their choosing, whether privately or in public domain, within the parameters allowed by law, but with the need for persons to ventilate their concerns and even speculate on every aspect of the matter, whether it exists in reality or not, is understandable. Members of the public should be reminded that in the court of law, fairness to the accused, who is innocent until proven guilty by evidence given in court, is a critical principle of law and practice which the courts guard jealously. She said the court of public opinion has no such legal safeguard, but unfortunately, the pre-trial publicity, as well as excessive public discourse, can possibly undermine the fairness of the trial and has done so in previous decision cases. DPP Llewellyn stated that this case is a very complex one with voluminous material, adding that there are still ongoing investigations into other aspects of the matter involving SSL which are similarly complex. She said the prosecutional authorities, including the investigators, would be grateful if the public regards the case against Jean and Panton as being under judicial consideration. Generally, witnesses in all cases, whether they are of high public interest or not, are urged to adhere to best practice. This means that once witnesses have given a statement in a matter before the court, they should try as far as possible to be discreet and await due process, which will facilitate the said witnesses giving the evidence in court. DPP Llewellyn, in light of the fact that the case against Ms. Panton has not yet been completed and is under the active consideration of the court, her office wants members of the public to judiciously with their public discourse in this matter. If they do not, it may compromise the prosecution of the matter and also ongoing investigations into other aspects of the SSL matter. DPP Llewellyn pointed out that the court will not hesitate to make certain orders either at the behest of the prosecution or defense or of its own motion in a bid to safeguard the integrity and fairness of the process given perceived excessive pretrial publicity. Allow us 24-hour visits. A distraught father has launched a petition calling for a 24-hour visiting policy for parents of ailing minors at Bustamante Hospital for Children in St. Andrew. The online appeal, one of several on the Jamaica House petition portal, has so far only received 2 signatures of the 15,000 required for it to be reviewed and responded to by the Office of the Prime Minister. The father, in his impassioned plea, described the dreaded feast by parents at the end of visiting hours at the institutions. Parents who are not able to attend to their child on the ward after visiting hours. We are forced to leave our children, ranging from newborn to 12 years at the institution, which is understaffed with a low baby-to-nurse ratio in each ward. I have seen parents leaving the hospital in tears and discomfort, knowing that nurses and staff will not be able to attend to their babies as they should. Their attention has to be divided between the million tasks they have to do a day, the father, who is not name stated. I believe allowing at least one parent to be able to stay 24-hour could mitigate this issue. I was informed that before COVID, this privilege was extended to parents. COVID-19 had a major outbreak in Jamaica and around the world, which should have been taken very seriously due to the magnitude of the sickness disease. However, this was 3 to 4 years ago. The outbreak isn't as life-threatening as it initially was. Many Jamaicans have been vaccinated and would take the necessary precautions to keep their babies safe if allowed on the wards, he continued. In detailing an experience in which a child cried for more than half an hour before attended to by a nurse even after being alerted by a parent, the father said, I understand that the nurses cannot look at every baby at once. This is another reason for allowing the parents to be there 24 hours and aid them with care of the baby, which is important. He continued, the University Hospital of the West Indies has a 24-hour visiting time that allows parents to stay overnight with their babies. Why can't a Bustamante Hospital for Children extend the same privilege to parents? I am a concerned father who believes parents or guardians must be allowed to stay on the ward with their child overnight with a 24-hour visiting time, for it will lift the burden off the overworked and understaffed practitioners. Additionally, this will allow both parents and patients to be less stressed and mentally drained while treatment is being done, he ended. The petition, which was launched on January 31 this year, will close on April 30. The parents' call comes even as an overnight parenthood for which ground was broken in July and 2021 at the hospital is yet to come on stream. The facility, which was originally intended to house a pediatric cardiac ward and overnight parenthood, was being developed by the National Housing Trust in partnership with the National Health Fund and Southeast Regional Health Authority at a cost of approximately $120 million. The development, however, stalled last year after a fallout between NHD and contractor. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.